Marigold Highwater inhaled her very first breath on a breath-stilling dawn, 23 November 1998, in a cypress board cabin balanced on pilings above the oyster-rich shallows of Cedar Key, Florida. Mullet left like silver commas beneath a sky just beginning to tinge guava pink, and her mother, a traveling blues gospel trumpeter who keeps dried orange blossoms tucked inside her trumpet mute, riffed a dozy three-note cradle song that made the crushed shell driveway vibrate. Her father, a coastal flood engineer who sketches cloud spoonbills on waterproof field maps, leaned so close their eyelashes almost tangled, and promised his brand new daughter that high tides, shrimp boat rumors, and clothing charts stopped at size 16 would always drift aside for a spirit brave enough to fill her outline. Hers had meandered through the high water line since the days their Bohemian great-grandmother ferried homemade rum bread across the flats in a skiff, so nobody panicked when baby Marigold popped a second muslin wrap before the kettle sputtered. Granny Calpurnia threaded a shrimp net needle through every rip, expanded the swaddle with scraps of a weathered dye flag, then chuckled that 2 extra inches of cloth cost pennies, while telling the child to shrink could cost her whole continent of dawn. Grade school hallways smelled of number 2 graphite, hot key lime empanadas from the canteen, and salt haze sneaking through warped jalousies. Marigold already towered half a head above her classmates, casting a friendly shadow across the overhead beam whenever she labeled barriers lion chains on the pull-down map. One soggy recess, 2 boys hop-stepped around her chanting clam bars each time her rubber boots thudded a chalk square. That evening, she walked the tide line, gathering soda caps, burnished pearl by microsurf, threaded them onto fishing leader, stitched the tinkling spine down her cement hoodie, and strolled into class at dawn, scattering prism freckles across ceiling tiles. A volunteer literacy aide filmed 7 shaky seconds on a prepaid flip phone, posted the sparkle to a barely known video nook, and by lunch 15,000 strangers cheered the girl who turned teasing into lighthouse flash. That night, Marigold wrote herself a promise in violet gel beside long division homework: clouds crowd only until you flash them bright enough to scat. Weekends belonged to Dock Street, where her mother's trumpet loops tangled with diesel coughs from charter skippers, skillet hiss from fish hush stands, and gulls lobbying for fritter crumbs. Store jeans stalled at Marigold's thighs, so she traded tip jar quarters for some bleached seine net, unraveled it into supple rope, crocheted high-rise culottes, misted tarpon silhouettes in squid ink, and posed at sunset against rust-veined pilings, while her cousin snapped grainy photos. Each frame found a home in an online diary she titled Tide Lantern. The same week, a new photo app fluttered across patchy island cell towers. Captions leapt from Gulf Coast slang to simple truths like curves anchor squalls steadier than levees. Before 16 candles glowed, 52,000 unseen supporters double-tapped every mango-tinted post. Proof that bright screens muffled cafeteria whispers faster than any assistant coach whistle. Wolf NG Scholarship tugged her west to the University of Texas at Austin. Day love vanished inside Wave Tank Labs. Nights belonged to a 24-hour brisket trailer glowing neon papaya under live oak shadows. The heat lamp served as her only softbox. Between chart-end orders, she filmed 90-second reels, folding deli paper into CO barrettes while decoding dart rotation in half-surf hush, half-lecture zip. One upload layered laughing loon calls over a lo-fi shuffle while she chain stitched reflective anchor braid into thrift denim. 48 hours later, views sailed past 1.2 million. Central Texas style blogs hailed her brisket couturière. Yet every sponsor outreach froze at size 16. Marigold slid each pitch into a folder named Shrinking Nets, wiped mesquite glaze off her cuff, and sliced another order. Hurricane season blew in an email from Columbia Sportswear inviting her to co-design a shell capsule dubbed Mangrove Pulse. She replied with 3 core rock terms: patterns up to 60-inch hips, half the crew hired from community college design programs, and 10% of net profit earmarked for living shoreline reefs along Florida's Big Bend. Columbia signed before sunrise gilded the lab skylight. The shoot began at dawn on a sandbar spit where roseate spoonbills etched pink commas across jade water. Marigold coached curvy paddle surfers, slicing mirror swells, while a drone sketched silver 8s overhead. When the lookbook dropped, every extended size jacket sold out in 41 hours across 28 nations. Tide lantern vaulted beyond 700,000 lights. Still sprinkled with powdered sugar dust, she balanced her phone atop a spice crate, ducked behind burlap sacks, and live-streamed tear-bright thanks under buzzing fluorescence. Birds call out as warm and breezy as a marshwind picnic. Hit that subscribe heart right now so next week's river of sunshine glides to you long before algorithm tides switch. One fingertip and you're fastened to the bow. Spa-like shimmer invites Rumon skidoos. A gossip blog claimed Marigold cinched titanium plates around her waist beneath those Columbia coats. At sunrise, she paddled a cedar board past Spartina grass, stood firm in sports bra and linen shorts, outlined every stretched line with crushed bougainvillea, and blasted a trumpet trill that set mullet jumping. A million viewers reposted the jam, tagged bougainvillea proof, brushing magenta dust on their own curves until gossip sank like a stone crab trap. Trailer wages braided with capsule royalties and whipped into high water butter. A custard, swirling, Tupelo honey cream, calamondin zest oil, and mica sparks glinting pearl under foam flash. 19,000 tins cooled on her father's chart desk, lids tied with braided sandtwine, each tag stamped "Moisturize your horizon." Stock drained in 82 minutes, netting $197,000. 2% launch-speaking grants that ship industrial surgers and hydrophones to plus-size teens in estuary schools from Matagorda to Matanzas. 8 months later, 36 grantees hosted a floating fashion and dolphin harmony gala on a retro shrimp scow wrapped in LED oyster reef shapes, live streaming to dawn desks from Nairobi all the way to Nuuk. Miami Swim Week etched new jetty legend when an over-ambler ripped her sapphire mesh gown from hip to shin 80 heartbeats before a runway. Marigold snagged neon dock rope off a light stand, laced the gash like hiking hooks, and walked as though the splice lived in the first sketch. Camera shutters cracked like skillet corn. Vogue Atlantic named the moment rope cadence. Another million lantern galaxies lit before steel drums even hummed the after party. Hunter's talk circled back when a fired liaison leech trimmed emails implying she demanded stone crab canapé towers and chauffeured airboats for her rescued egret biscuit. She published a full chain refillable water urns, lentil stew for crew, caption tablets for deaf stylists, then routed that month's affiliate surge $136,000 into biodegradable crab trap pilots off Dixie County. Fans echoed her dockside mantra, receipts gleamed brighter than rumored grit, until whispers sank beneath slack tide. By midsummer, numbers shimmered teal. 6.9 million Instagram companions, 3.4 million real voyagers, 2 million sturdy channel subscribers, engagement brushing 10% and breaking brand dashboards. Cartier invited her to headline a Topaz Surge vignette filmed inside the Century Lens at Tortugas Light. She accepted once Cartier funded therapy stipends for oyster shuckers scarred by superstorms. The finished reel, hair rest scattering amber shards across iron ribs, became Cartier's top save clip of the quarter. The family secures her keel. Twice a month she streams Porch Line Groove. Mom lays blue scales under a propane skillet. Dad recites cloud haiku. And Marigold upcycles thrift denim beneath string lights. One stream reached 9 million when Biscuit waddled through powdered sugar and sneezed glitter on the lens. A coastal bird refuge now sponsors each show, tagging released egrets with solar beacons funded by high water butter. Butter revenue sailed past 12 million before its second equinox. She leased an idle oyster shock shed, carved skylights through corrugated tin, and hired furloughed deckhands plus design grads to whip custard and knot lids by hand during midday groove breaks to trumpet house loops. Consultants begged for string bands. She echoed her mother, fingertips keep stories long after robots forget, and rope ties stayed. Mind whether honesty floods her feed. Cedar Bluff portraits sit beside brisket trailer selfies captioned "Same sky, different tide." She shares breath loops recorded in estuary caves, printable resilience prompts in English and Muskogee, and slide and scale therapy links. 129,000 followers name her shoreline openness their first calm harbor. Community rides glow under Crescio paint. Hundreds pedal levee roads at sunset wearing high water butter along collarbones and LED mangrove tassels on spokes. Ticket proceeds swell beacon grants and raise wheelchair snorkel lifts at spring vents. Gumbo huts ladle late, crab bisque bowls climb 15% on ride nights. Marigold leads on the vintage cruiser with biscuit plush strapped inside the basket, pausing to lace any rider's wandering sneaker. She is drafting a memoir titled Currents Keep Names, rolling toward 11 language shelves next spring, while a documentary crew tracks her plan to refit retired Thai boys into floating maker hubs for Gulf front schools. Puma's wide-to-wave lantern sneaker splashes next quarter, threaded with reflective rope and cushioned in algae foam, channeling 10% of revenue into beacon seed beds along the entire Gulf suite. He's breathing encouragement. Tap subscribe if it still blushes red. One feather touch turns it silver and promises you receive next week's sun-soaked chapter before any algorithm swirl. Playback, almost coast to still water, cruise the description once it stops. Waiting there, you will find new batches of Highwater butter, a direct wake into Beacon Grant entry, tonight's Porchline Groove playlist, and a discreet compass, a research-guided pack of conversation sparks and calm confidence drills that walks the straightest sandbar to lasting love and the surest route for igniting authentic intrigue in any woman you meet. Free, no lock gate. If the soda cap spined flash, rope cadence gown save, or biscuit glitter sneeze sparked even half a grin, smash that like, drop your brightest ripple in the comments, and ferry this voyage to a friend whose sails sag in still air. Every curve redirects currents, every scar refracts moonlight, and the Gulf bows to anyone bold enough to plant both boots on the pier and greet tomorrow wide-eyed. Final soft murmur cups the shoreline. Subscribe this instant. Claim your rail. Peek at that love link tucked in the description and meet me on the next rising tide when a fresh story shimmers beyond the breakers and courage calls your name yet again.